There is an energy here. Can you feel it? Yeah. Can you feel it? Yeah. There is an energy here, and I feel it. It's been a privilege to have shared these last few days with you. But there is a field, a collective field that I feel that we have been co-creating in this space right here in Phuket, Thailand. Yeah. Can you feel it? Yeah. A vortex field, a frequency field, a healing field of love, of liberation, of transformation, a field that is being created right here. You know, it's often said that when a butterfly flaps its wings on one side of the world, it literally shifts the structure on the other side of the planet. We may not have wings, but we have hearts to open. And I believe that all the tears you have shed, all the laughter you have cried, all the songs you have sang, all the beliefs that you have let go of in this space, you don't just do it for yourself. Everything you release in this space in Phuket, Thailand, you do for every single human being on this planet. You are doing for your children, your children's children, and generations to come. Are you ready? You know, you're getting ready for that homeward journey. Anyone excited to take everything you've been learning at Fest back into your lives? The real seminar, the real festival is life itself. And life right now at this particular point is checking you out. It's looking at you going, oh, they went to Fest. What did they learn? And it's waiting for you right now as you leave this beautiful space, this bubble. See, life doesn't care about what you've learned and what you've been through. It's full of challenges, not always easy. It doesn't call you up and say, excuse me, in about 3 months, we're going to hit you with a challenge. It just hits it and it gives it to you any single moment of your life. So you must be ready. Are you ready? Yeah. Are you ready? Yeah. Are you ready? Yeah. You know, I feel there is power in this room. There is enough power in this room to literally change the world. There is enough love in this room to literally impact the course of human history. Right in this room, you and I, right here, right now, if we harness it fully. But what's interesting is we live in amazing times, don't we? We live in incredible times. Isn't this an amazing time to be alive? We live in interesting times, challenging times. Some call it intense times. Can you feel the intensity that's happening across the planet right now? Some call it a crisis. Old systems collapsing. Old economies collapsing. Old paradigms collapsing. Old educational systems collapsing. Old ways of doing relationships collapsing. Yes? Real estate markets, Wall Street collapsing. And I feel that in this collapse, there is a new world, a new era, a new consciousness at this time that is seeking to be birthed right now. And you and I have been born at this particular time in human history. We have won the cosmic lottery ticket to be born right now, to participate in the global awakening of a world that is waking up to itself. This is why we are here. This is why you are here in this room, transforming. This is why we've been born at this time. We can no longer push the snooze button. If any of you have been pushing the snooze button, waiting for some special moment in the future, waiting till everything's perfect, now is the time. The cosmic alarm clock is ringing, saying, wake up, it's your time. Your dreams, your visions that you have chosen you. Whether you think you're ready or not, whether you think you're equipped or not, you have those visions because you are the one that is perfectly equipped for the fulfillment of what life itself is seeking to express and download through you. You don't have to know how you're going to do it. You don't have to know how it's going to be done. You don't have to know where the resources are coming from. You just have to say yes. Are you ready to say yes? Yes. My father has about 300 churches in West Africa. My first memory as a young boy was literally seeing a crippled woman crawling on the floor around age 5, and I saw this crippled woman crawling on the floor, and I was a chubby kid lost in the crowd, and I saw her pick up the sand that he walked on and wiped it on her face, and she stood up. Every week I would see this same man put his hands on a woman in a wheelchair or a person with crutches, and he would say, "Stand up. Do you believe? Stand up." And he would tell me, Kute, every time I was a kid, I would stress. Some of you might be thinking, oh my God, what happens when I leave A-Fest? This is a nice bubble. And what do I do? And it's such a beautiful community here. But in the world, my father, anytime I would stress and get worried, he would say, Kute, son, did you bring yourself into this planet? Did you birth yourself here? I'll say, well, no. Then he would say, what brought you here? Life, the infinite. And then he would look at me. This great man would look at me with such eyes of compassion. And he would say, if you didn't bring yourself here, why are you worrying about how every single area of your life, every single dimension of your life is going to be fulfilled? Surely there is an intelligent consciousness that is living and breathing you and I right now. There is an intelligent consciousness that is digesting your food right now, that is living and breathing all species, all of humanity, that knows exactly how to bring about the perfect alignment and fulfillment of your destiny. So for those of you that don't know what to do and how it's going to happen and where the resources are going to come from, you just say yes and watch life work. Your job is not to go out there and make it happen, go out there and manifest it. Everything is already manifested. Everything is already available. Your job is to simply say yes and get yourself the hell out of the way and watch life happen. This is that miracle zone where Gandhi and Martin Luther King and Mother Teresa and Pele and the great ones lived. In that zone, it goes beyond your logical mind. Your logical linear mind is limited in that zone. 2 times 2 does not equal 4. And 4 times 4 does not equal 16. It will equal whatever is necessary for the fulfillment of your destiny. Because inherent in your dream is already the fulfillment of that dream. Are you ready? Yes. Are you ready? Yes. These are exciting times. We've had the Industrial Revolution, we've had a technological revolution, but right now we are amidst the greatest spiritual revolution that the world has ever seen right now. And as these old systems collapse, all those places you may have held on to for a sense of self, all those places you may have held on to for a sense of identification, a sense of me, all those things, as you're being forced to let go of those things out here, we're being invited and challenged and forced to go inside to remember who and what it is that we really are. Who and what it is that we really are. Do you know what I'm saying? This is the time. Somehow in the mainstream world, we have seemed to have thought that we have maybe reached the limit of the evolution of our species, of what it means to be human, like the Homo sapien species. But I feel like these times are so intense times. The crisis in the world is going through such rebirth that what we have achieved as human beings is just the beginning, as Homo sapiens, just the beginning. Perhaps 14 billion years ago, or however many billion years ago that the universe exploded out of the mouth of God, there was the Homo habilis, the Homo erectus, the Homo Neanderthal, the Homo sapien. But I feel right now, it is time for you and I, that the consciousness, that the great avatars and the great gurus have been gestating in the mountains of the Himalayas, the Sai Babas and the yogis, that enlightened consciousness that has been gestated in deep meditations, that it's time for you and I to be bold and wake up to that. This is the new era. This is why we are here. That perhaps life isn't simply, and real success isn't simply about the money you earn and simply about your vision being turned into reality, although that's a great process. But perhaps the real measure of success is the degree to which you realize your true self. The degree to which you became the fullest, most authentic expression of who you are. Are you ready? Are you ready? Yes. In these exciting times, my brothers and sisters, there is so much love in this room. Can you feel it? Yeah. I'm here to ask you a couple of questions, to open your hearts, and to teach you a special mantra. Would you like to know it? Yes. This is a mantra I've never taught in public, but I think the A-Fest crowd is ready. Yes. But there is so much love in this room. You know, my father having so many churches, I grew up studying different religions, Judaism, Catholicism, Buddhism. And at the fundamental core of each and every religion, you know that they may not agree on death and karma and afterlife and who the Messiah is, but every single one agreed that the bottom line is love. Is what? Love. Is what? Love. Is what? Love. So my question to you is, as you get ready to go back into your lives, and life is waiting for you to test you, as you get ready to go back into your communities, once you're done meditating, once you're done hooping, once you're done dancing, once you're done visiting holy shrines, once you're done raising your kundalini, once you're done doing tantra, once you're done doing online courses, once you're done being at A-Fest, my question is this: are you loving fully? Are you loving what? Fully. There is so much love capacity inside of each of us. Are you loving fully or not? And if not, why not? And if not, where is it that you are holding back a little bit in your life? Ponder that for a moment. Are you loving fully? And if not, why not? In our culture, we worship superheroes that fly and, jump off of buildings and do all sorts of magic tricks, and celebrities called Cruz and Smith, right? But I believe that the real heroes are you and I. Those that dare to open their hearts, even though you might have every reason not to. Those that dare to open your hearts, even though life tests you and challenges you, even though you've been betrayed. You are the heroes. I'll never forget being in India with a dear friend of mine, a man by the name of Dwarkaji. Dwarkaji was an 80-year-old man at the time, a former disciple of Gandhi, built 300 schools in Bihar, the poorest state in India. Anyone been to India? Anyone been to Bodh Gaya? Yes, it's intense. Bodh Gaya is where the Buddha got enlightened. And I had these grand visions many years ago to be with my friend Dwarkaji, a man of service, a karma yogi. I wanted to be Mother Teresa. And I went and I decided to be with him in his ashram, in his orphanage. And I spent about 2 weeks in his orphanage with the poorest kids in the world, kids that he finds living on the streets. And as I was with him, after 2 weeks in India, I grew weary. And I looked at my friend Dwarkaji and I said, Dwarkaji, I'm going to go meditate in the Mahabodhi temple where the Buddha's statue is. And he looked at me with such eyes of compassion. And he said, Kute, it's beautiful that you go meditate by the Buddha statue. It's a beautiful thing. Go do it. But he looked at me with such eyes of compassion and he said, but while you're there, just make sure your heart doesn't turn to stone. Because right here, in front of you, right now, in this simple orphanage, are living Buddhas. In the eyes of these children, living Christ in the eyes of these humble children, simply waiting to be worshipped, waiting to be served. And it hit me that, sometimes we have grand visions. Who has a big vision here? Yes, I'm in the right space. And we have these grand visions and these big ideas, to save the world, to save all the whales, to save all the children, to bring water to everyone. But in that moment, I realized that every single person in my life, every single moment in my life, every single experience was an opportunity to love. And sometimes we look at the big things, but right in front of you, your parents, your mother-in-law, your in-laws, your boss, your employees, the person in the traffic, every single person is that sacred opportunity to open your hearts and live your yoga, and live your meditation, and live your prayers, and live your love. So as you go out into the world, what if you kept the spirit of A-Fest alive and took on that every single moment of your life is an opportunity to live your spiritual practice? Every single second. Then there's not, we have A-Fest over here, temple over here, yoga over here, and life over here. But every single second is a spiritual practice. From that moment, I went to walk the Camino. Anyone been to Spain? Heard of the Camino de Santiago? I'll never forget, I walked the Camino de Santiago, 900-kilometer trek in northern Spain. An amazing experience. And I met this guy. I walked 22 days by myself. And I finally met this crazy guy from Spain, Barcelona. And we spent an entire day together. And as we spent this entire day together, he changed my life. The whole premise of the Camino is walking lightly, taking less material stuff through life. And as I walked the Camino, this guy had the hugest backpack you could ever imagine. And I'm like, what's up with this guy? He's going in the reverse. And I had all these judgments on this guy. And I said, dude, what's the deal? Why are you walking the Camino? He said, I've walked the Camino 7 times. 7 times. I'm like, you're insane. Anyone else a little crazy here? Yeah. We're all crazy. And he said, I've walked the Camino 7 times. But this time I don't walk for myself. He said, right at this moment, my wife is spending time with another man. I was like, see what? He said, she came to me and she said, I have this connection with a guy, and I just feel this connection, and I have to explore this connection. And I said, so what did you do? I wanted to slap the guy. And he's like, well, I realized that love is free. Love is not a prison. He said, I love her. I want to be with her, but I only want her to be with me if out of love she stays and wants to be with me, but not because of some superficial external agreement, but because that is what is in her heart. So I set her free. And I trust that real love is infinite. Real love is not a jail. It's a free, open field. And he silenced me for about a few hours. And we walked, and we walked, and we walked, and even in that silence, everything was said. So I said, dude, what's the deal with your backpack? You have this huge backpack. What's up with this backpack? I mean, I'm really proud. I'm very spiritual, right? Because I have like a tiny little backpack. So I must be spiritual. And this guy's got a backpack that's like 7 foot tall. And he looked at me and he laughed. And one thing I realized is throughout our journey, he kept giving away things. He would take stuff out of his backpack and give stuff away. I thought, wow, we'd meet a woman and he'd give her a scarf. We'd meet another person, he'd give her a cookie. We'd meet another person, he'd give them a shoe. I'm like, this is Santa Claus. And he looked at me and he said, my intention is by the end of this journey, of the Camino. See, life is a journey. We're all on a journey of life. Coming from the same place, going in a similar direction. And he said, by the end of the journey of the Camino, my intention is to have my backpack completely empty. That there's nothing remaining in my backpack My invitation to you, my friends, is as you go back in your life, you can keep it for yourself. You can save the loving for a special person, a special moment, a special day. But my invitation is that whatever's in your heart, the backpack of your heart, that by the time your life is done, you let it be completely empty. You live in such a way that nothing remains. How would you need to live so that nothing remained? So one of the questions I've come here to ask you in this short moment together before I share this magical mantra with you. Who's excited about the mantra? Yeah. Never before shared in the West. I promise you, trust me, never before shared in the West. Question I want to ask you to think about as you go back into your lives, since we only have a short time together, is what if today was the last day of your life? What if today was the last day of your life? Would you be ready? Think about that for a moment. Would you be ready to throw your arms wide open and say, take me, I'm ready, I'm giving everything to everything as everything? Or would there be some regret? Would there be some resentment? What's ungiven? What's unspoken? What's uncommunicated? What's unexpressed? What if today was the last day of your life? What's ungiven? Who would you need to speak to? What gifts still remain in your heart? And how would you need to live in such a way? So you might be saying, Kute, come on, man, this is A-Fest. Don't be so dramatic. You might say, well, my astrologer told me that I'm going to be living till around age 92, And I truly hope that each of us live a long life. But to me, the real success of life is not the duration, but it's how you live while you're living it. What if today was the last day of your life? How would you need to live your life, rearrange your life so that if death came, you could throw your arms wide open and say, yes, I'm ready. Fully ready right now. That as you get ready to go back into your lives, you live every single day in such a way so that every single moment of your life, you can say, yes, yes, it's a good day to die. I believe it's then, in that moment, you will be fully alive. We're in Phuket, Thailand. Let me ask you, did the people in the Southeast Asian tsunami, did they have any idea that that day, right here, they would not come back and get to look their loved ones in the eyes one last time and say, I love you? Did the people in 9/11 have any idea that they would not come back that evening and look their children in the eyes and simply say one last time, forgive me? What are you waiting for? A special time, a special moment, a special person, a special sign? Waiting is an illusion. It's a complete illusion. Time to lose the weight. Right now. This moment. I was in Ghana, West Africa. My father's from Ghana. My mother's Japanese. I grew up in London. I live in Los Angeles. I don't know where I'm from. And I remember I went to Ghana for a special birthday. Went with 12 friends. One of my best friends, a 65-year-old former Intel executive, a man by the name of Sri, an amazing Indian guy. We were like an odd pair of brothers. And he came on this journey. And one day we were all dancing together. And we were all dancing, beating the drums. Anyone like dancing? I saw you dancing the other day. And we were beating the drums, dancing together. And he came up to me and said, Kute, I have a phobia of dancing. And I said, well, what do you mean? He goes, ever since I was a child, I couldn't dance. And I said, Sri, you just got to free yourself. You just got to just like do whatever and just like be okay with it, you know, take the judgment off. And we went to a town the next day. We were met by 3,000 people, and there was Sri. And we all left, getting ready to go onto the bus. And there was Sri. We looked back, and he was in the middle of the courtyard. And there he was, dancing. You know, dancing. And there he was, like Rumi had possessed his body. And he was dancing and dancing, and he was dancing. And you know, when you see a soul breaking free of the limitations of their persona, you know that joy when you see someone breaking out of the prison of their personality, and he was just dancing. And I was so happy. Months later, he traveled to the Sahara. And I called him up when he got back to Phoenix, and I got his daughter, and his daughter said, Sri, we'll call you tomorrow. My dearest friend, I called him the next day, and she told me Sri had died. And I was devastated. Because I loved Sri, but there was so much more we had wanted to create in the world together, do together, express together. And I was saddened, and I grieved, and I cried. And months later, one day, I saw a vision of Sri dancing. And there he was in my vision, dancing. And even though I was saddened that my friend Sri had died, I was ecstatic that while he was alive, he dared to dance. A fest, my brothers and sisters, will you dance? Will you do your dance in life? When life calls you unreasonable, when life calls you unrealistic, when life rejects you, will you dare to dance no matter what music the cosmic DJ is going to play? Will you dance? It's time to take your best dress out of the closet and wear it. It's time to take your best plates out of the cupboard and use it. It's time to take your best loving off of the shelf and share it. It's time to take your mind out of control and lose it. Life is waiting for you, and you have been chosen by your vision because you are the perfect person to fulfill that vision on this planet right now. Just say yes.